in D.C. It's like 24/7 of that. Why are they trying to make Catholics and non-Catholics fight? Because look at who has had their hand on the rudder of morality for the right in America. It's been Christians. They need that weakened.
The Dana Show with Dana Lash.
Oh, why, hello there, everyone out in Radio Land and in simulcast land. Dana Lash here with you. We're at the top of this third hour. If you're just joining us, we've been having a randy old time. Going through a lot. The latest with Iran, the stuff domestically. Oh, where do I even go? I've got so many other things we got to hit. By the way, if you missed anything the previous 2 hours, the podcast, there you go. We'll have to have that. You'll need to download that. And then, of course, don't forget the newsletter over at Substack. All right, so where do we go back to? Ooh, goodness. We got into, let's see. Oh, I have so many things. Let's get into this real quick and get this out of the way, because this is something that popped up a little earlier. Kane, you just mentioned it, and I'm looking for it. It's the story that we had. What was it, like the Jewish whatever night that they were having at the ballpark?
Yeah. Jewish night at the ballpark.
So why is this a thing now? The New York Mets are not going to host a Jewish Heritage Night at all during the 2026 season, according to their official promo calendar. A lot of because apparently that city has the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. And they said that they've got all kinds of other identity-based events. They have, Italian night, Puerto Rican night, Japanese night, Korean night, Irish night, Dominican night, various Mexican nights, Black Legacy, Pride, all kinds of stuff. But apparently that's one they always had and now they're not. Why? And they've been doing it for years now, but now apparently they're not doing it anymore. I'm curious as to why. They said that they're excluding it. I don't know why. They have their full calendar of heritage and identity celebrations, but they dropped that one. So I don't know. Are they doing Heritage Night? First off, why are there Heritage Nights? I mean, do it. If you're going to do, you can't just do one. You got to do everybody. If it's like a big public thing, otherwise you're going to just get yourself in trouble. You know what I mean? Why drop any of that? It doesn't make sense. Kane? Oh, I mean, you know why, obviously.
Well, sure, because there's a lot of anti-Semitism going around these days. But are there, like, if they looked at the data and they said, you know what? All of our fans, the makeup of all of our fans, none of them are Jewish. So maybe we shouldn't be, marketing to Jewish people.
How much of this has to do with Zohran Mamdani?
Oh.
And then I'm just curious. I mean, he's not just a Muslim mayor. He's an Islamist. He's an Islamist. He's an Islamist mayor. So, and his wife's Islamist. That's a big deal. And he's also, so here's the other thing I was reading. I didn't have this on the rundown. Speaking of New York, even if I were a billionaire, I wouldn't be going to the Met Gala because it's just not my jam. But that's the Met Gala. They do this big thing for the Metropolitan Museum, the big museum thing that they do up there. And Anna Wintour, who is the editor of Vogue, she runs it. She chairs it. She's not even really the editor of Vogue anymore, and she still runs it. So you always have these celebrities that chair the board, and they determine the theme, and they basically they hire people to organize and implement this thing. So this year, the whole Met Gala, and the Met Gala is like, it used to be considered one of the hardest invitations to anything that you would ever get, because Anna Wintour has to like you or you don't get invited. And it's very, like when they first had one of the Kardashians go there, everybody was, apoplectic over it. It's a bunch of fashion snobs. Sometimes the themes are interesting and the costuming is interesting to look at, but that's about it. So anyway, Jeff Bezos and his wife, Lauren, are apparently funding the whole thing this year. And so all of the all of the communists that are in New York are up in arms about it. So they've been putting up posters everywhere all over New York. They're boycotting what they're calling the billionaire Met Gala. You do realize that you're just switching out your billionaires, right? Like, that you've had billionaires that have bankrolled this thing before. But now they're only mad because it's Jeff Bezos. And there's no consistency. But they keep saying that they're going to go and humiliate them and all this stuff. And the reason why I find it so stupid and ridiculous is because they've never objected before. And again, you've had multimillionaires and billionaires that have bankrolled this event before. But now, just because it's Bezos doing it, now they're upset over it, and now they're going to boycott it? Shut up. No one cares about your dirty Toms of Maine stinky backsides. Nobody cares. Honestly, I'm so done with this stuff. So he's, I don't care. I think it's hysterical. I think it's hysterical that a guy who started in his parents' garage and built a company and then married, I'm sure they love each other, but she's his trophy wife. Well, let's be real. Married a trophy is now bankrolling the Met. It's hysterical to me because these people, for as much as commies act like they are against all of this stuff, they are the most protected when it comes to inherited wealth. They really are. If you look at all of the people that are the most vocal about this, especially if they're wealthy, they inherited all of it. They're the protected inherited wealth people. They're not really commies. It's so goofy. But they're mad. And so here's the other thing. So Zohran Mamdani, for the first time, I can't remember how many years, for the first time in, I think, decades, maybe more than that, he and his wife, his crappy artist wife, have you seen her art? I can draw that. I literally can do exactly what she does. Not kidding you. I feel like for charity, maybe I should draw like portraits of people to show you how horrible I am without even trying. The more I try, the worse it gets. She can have it. It's horrible. I can't even trace things well. Anyway, so he's not going. He's not going to the Met Gala. And some of the well-heeled Democrats in New York are going, wait, what? Like everybody. De Blasio went. What's his face? Eric, what's his face? The guy before he went? Yeah, he had a dumb gun control tux on. Like the back of it was like something about gun violence, whatever. They've always gone. All the mayors have gone, and they dress the part because there's a theme every year, and your outfit's supposed to fit the theme. And they've always participated. Mamdani's not going because it would be kind of I'm sure he wants to go because they seek out this limelight. I've seen him in different photos, like his wife is in Manolos, and he's wearing like a Gucci scarf, like the Nouveau Riche outfit. But they're not going. And then he announces this, Cut 17, which I find so ironic because he literally himself, what did I tell you about inherited wealth? That's who he is. He's never worked in the private sector ever. He's now mayor of the largest city in the United States and like one of like the biggest cities in the world. He has no idea how he's economically illiterate. All of his wealth is inherited, like completely contrary to his communist beliefs. And then he does stuff like this, Cut 17. So stupid.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live here. But even so, they're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most
Actually,
of the time,
they act like these are like second vacation homes. The pied-à-terre, normally it's like a smaller apartment for people who have to work in the city or have to go up there and then they have their other house elsewhere. It's like a small apartment. I mean, if you look at it, it's like the average living size. Not everybody, he uses the most egregious examples of like ridiculously billionaire people who have like penthouses and then they have, excuse me, mansions in the Hamptons elsewhere. But that's usually it's like a condo or it's something to that. It's a hell of a lot smaller than, what he's trying to intimate here. He's going to further drive everybody out. You're really going to drive out people if you're doing that. It's everybody that I know who works in New York, nobody lives there. I know only two people that have what you would call a pied-à-terre, where it's a small apartment. One is a couple that she works works in a U.S. attorney's office. He's a finance guy, and they live out in Jersey. and they go in, and whenever they're working late or whatever, sometimes both of them will stay there and the kids will stay with the grandparents in Jersey, or the wife stays there, the husband stays there, because public transit, if you're getting the last train out, it's like, 5 or 6 o'clock, whatever. That's who they're targeting. That's who's going to be affected by this. But he gives these weird examples of just like the big super rich billionaires, which is so stupid. But, now it makes sense. But he is one of those guys. He is in that protected wealth class, all of that inherited wealth. Remember, he was going to try to become a rapper. His rapping, his musical artistry was about as good as his wife's artistic skill, meaning it wasn't. But speaking of Anna Wintour, she was talking about his wife, Rama, and saying, oh, she wears a lot of vintage. I don't get her style. She had like a French bob, and then she wears sure, if you want to try to ingratiate yourself with communists in New York, I guess you're going to lie about that stuff, but whatever. Also, a couple of other things here. We were talking a little bit earlier about the left going at Sekwar, because he was given this, he was quoting Jules from Pulp Fiction. It was Ezekiel 25:17. Well, did you know, and this is what's interesting, that was given to him by the lead mission planner of this op, of the rescue op. And apparently that lead rescue planner recited that line from Pulp Fiction before the team, right before they commenced, executing this operation. And that's what he was explaining, by the way. Prior to the beginning of that soundbite that we had played, Sekwar had mentioned that. So they're attacking him because the lead planner read a motivational quote that was an addition. It was a throwback to a 1963 samurai film, the monologue in this film, or 73, sorry, and that combined with Ezekiel 25:17, that's the quote that Jules gave. They read that as an inspirational, final word to the team before they went and rescued this pilot. And Sekwar's being attacked for it by the Russian media. So if you're reposting that attack on Sekwar, you're reposting Russian propaganda, because that came from the Kremlin through their mouthpiece, RT, which stands for Russia Today. That was the first entity that began spinning this narrative. And so all of the people who are in the woke Reich, who love themselves some commies, and all of the people who have TDS are parroting that. So if you see people parroting that, even if they're on the right, they're promoting legitimate Russian propaganda. Just so you know. We got a lot more on the way as we roll towards headlines. Our partners that bring you the program, it's our friends over at Burn-A-Gun, BYRNA, Burn-A-Gun. It shoots chemical irritant projectiles that can deter threats from up to 50 feet away. And they do, this is a great option when your rights are restricted, because these local municipalities and private property, if they restrict your Second Amendment rights and you still have to go there for work, etc., they never provide armed security to protect you. But so you cannot just gamble your security, especially in today's age. You need to have some means of protecting yourself, and this is where the Burn-A-Gun comes in. The CL specifically, compact launcher, they have other models, but this is the only one for this purpose. Really, it's the size of an iPhone. It, again, shooting the chemical irritant projectiles. But when you compare it to the taser or a stun gun that has one, maybe two rounds in that, this has a 15-round shot capacity per cartridge with the CL. And so there's no recoil, easy target acquisition and reacquisition, and there's no background checks, no fees, no anything, no waiting periods. You order it online, they send it right to your door. Great for college students, great for, if you're restricted, because it's not a gun, so it doesn't care about gun-free zones. You can find it at Byrna.com/Dana, the Byrna, CLBYRNA.com/Dana, ready when you are. When it comes to supplements, two things matter most. They've got to work, and you've got to be able to trust them. And that's where Relief Factor comes in. I've seen it help my husband, who's dealt with knee pain from old sports injuries, and it can wear you down. When you find something that actually helps you, stick with it. There's a lot of folks that have been talking about and taking and authentically endorsing Factor for over a decade now, helping people get out of pain naturally because it works. The creator of Relief Factor came home from Vietnam as a wounded combat veteran and became a doctor to help people heal heal and created Relief Factor as a drug-free way to help his own patients with pain. Find out how Relief Factor could help you start with the 3-week quick start for just $19.95. Just visit relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. When it comes to supplements, two things matter most. They've got to work and you've got to be able to trust them. Find out how Relief Factor could help you start with the 3-week quick start. Visit relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to try the quick start and see how it can help you get out of pain naturally.
We've got a country to save.
Larry Elder.
The socialist mayor of New York has announced the first city-owned grocery store. It's going to be a store built from the ground up in East Harlem. Cost of the store, $30 million. Do you have any idea how many groceries you could buy for $30 million? Can't wait to find out how that's going to work out.
The Larry Elder Show.
Join me weekday evenings at 6 on WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
If you need a Clopay garage door, go to AE Door and Window.
Save up to 15% through the end of April.
Purchase a LiftMaster garage door opener
And save up to $125 installed.
You know, people in the tri-state love backyard living, so AE Door and Window also offers awnings.
Summer Space retractable awnings are 15% off, plus big savings on entry doors and windows from Pilla and Provia. Combine your order and save another 5%.
Learn more at aeDoorsales.com.
We sell the best and service the rest. AE.
Go-to pitch. Swung on a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Local business owners, get in on the baseball excitement and let your message be heard. Join the growing number of businesses supporting high school sports on 1450 The Ticket at very affordable rates. Simply contact the WMOH 1450 The Ticket sales office at 863-1111. You are listening, and so are many of your future customers. Let area baseball fans know that you support high school sports on 1450 The Ticket, and they'll support you.
This is Dana Lash. We'll be right back on WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
In March of 1775, at St. John's Church in Richmond, Patrick Henry rose to speak words that spurred the American Revolution and echo throughout American history. Give me liberty, or give me death. As we celebrate America's 250th anniversary, it has never been more important to reflect on our nation's values and commit ourselves to moving our country forward. My friends at Americans for Prosperity have created a terrific way to celebrate this historic year through their One Small Step initiative. It's a campaign built on a simple idea. Liberty requires courage, conviction, and an active citizenry. For nearly 250 years, Americans have preserved liberty through small, deliberate steps, and now it's on us, in the face of tremendous opposition to these ideals, to ensure these freedoms pass on to the next generation. If you believe freedom is worth defending, I encourage you to visit a250toolkit.com/Scott. Add your voice for liberty. That's a250toolkit.com/Scott.
When you're behind the wheel, it's okay to rock out to your music, but it's not okay to interact with your phone screen and electronic devices while driving. In most cases, anything more than a single touch or swipe is against the law. That means no texting, no typing, no scrolling, no shopping, no browsing. If an officer sees a violation, they can pull you over. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
High school baseball, installed by AE Door and Window.
Sky, deep right field, going back to the wall, looking up. It's gone. Cam Gallis with a home run to deep right center.
Lines one back up the middle, and Fields says, "Thank you very much. I'll take that." Landon Fields. Fields is positioned very well.
Friday, Lakota West takes on Hamilton.
Swung on and missed.
Coverage begins Friday at 7:05 on 1450 The Ticket and on WMOH.com.
From the WMOH Weather Center, this afternoon will bring us a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, high 78. Partly cloudy tonight with a low 55. Sunny on Friday with a high 84. Chance of thunderstorms late Friday night with a low 65. Showers and thunderstorms likely Saturday with a high 75. Cloudy, showers likely Saturday night, low 40. Sunny on Sunday, not as warm with a high 58.
Now, back to Dana Lash on WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
And now, all of the news you would probably miss. It's time for Dana's Quick Five.
A hiker was rescued by fire crews after being bitten by a rattlesnake in Montecito, California. Man, you cannot mess with those things. Ooh, that's scary. I remember being at the Reagan Library up on that hill out there, and well, I can't remember. Oh my gosh, I can't remember where it was now. But California, obviously, I can't remember the town. But where they had signs everywhere: "Beware rattlesnakes! Beware rattlesnakes!" And that's not too far from Montecito. They said fire crews found the woman 3/4 of a mile up the trail, the Buena Vista Trail. She got bitten on the ankle, and they instructed her to blow the whistle that she had, and she did not have adequate service to call 911, but she did text somebody who was able to call 911 for her. She was sent to the hospital. They don't know about her condition, but apparently there's a rise in rattlesnake bites in California this year. I don't know why, but that's kind of terrifying. EasyJet passengers left in the heat. Oh my gosh. We're left in the heat, vomiting and passing out in a 3-hour border control chaos. This sounds horrible. 100 EasyJet passengers were left stranded in Milan after they faced up to 3-hour lines at the Linate airport due to their new border control checks in Italy. And people were vomiting and passing out in the heat. And it's not even like peak heat season yet. And that's northern Italy, for crying out loud. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Ugh. A chunk of ice fell from the sky and through an LA County resident's roof. A giant chunk of ice. So, and it was dirty and it really smelled badly. They said that this chunk of ice that went through this Whittier home, Northern California.
You know what that was?
What?
It's from an airport lavatory, an airplane lavatory. I guarantee you.
You think it's poop ice?
Yeah, it's poop ice.
They said that it crashed through his living room ceiling. There's a giant hole. There's literally, you can see it, a chunk of ice in it. So gross. Oh, I can't. Man, no, I don't like that. Well, let's see. God of Chaos asteroid, Apophis is going to blaze across the sky. Is it going to hit us? No, it's not. I don't care. I don't care about seeing it unless it's barreling towards Earth on a collision course. And in Kenya, I didn't know that ant smuggling was a thing, but Kenya sentenced a Chinese ant smuggler to a year in jail. It's a Nairobi court. This guy tried smuggling thousands of ants. It's apparently very lucrative. And they were going to China. They become pets, and you buy them for $100 each. We're in the wrong business, King. Stick with us. All right, folks, you know I've talked about Human and their Super Beats for years. Founded out of the UT Health Science Center and built on real cardiovascular research around blood flow and nitric oxide. So heart health, healthy blood pressure, circulation, even daily energy, all of these depend on healthy blood flow. And I love that Super Beats Heart Chews use a clinically studied ingredient that's shown to be nearly 2 times more effective than just diet and exercise alone. So just 2 chews support cardiovascular health and heart healthy energy. And now there's new Super Beats Heart Chews, 0 sugar and pomegranate berry and chocolate flavors. And they taste so good, you would never know that they're 0 sugar. It's bold, delicious, and they're plant-based. So it's like non-GMO, no artificial colors, no stimulants. It's just science-led heart support in a daily chew that you're going to actually look forward to taking. So do what I've done, support your heart health with the new Super Beats Heart Chews 0 sugar. Visit human.com/Dana to buy 2 and get 1 free and find out how to get a free 30-day supply. That's human.com/Dana.
1450 WMOH News. I'm Steve Vaughn. Another deepfake sex image case at Mason High School. A 16-year-old student is accused of using AI to create nude videos and images of female classmates. He is facing 9 felony counts in juvenile court. Westchester police are looking for a man who allegedly assaulted his former girlfriend and slammed her 9-month-old puppy against a wall, killing it. Mario De La Cruz was last known to live in Covington, Kentucky. He is believed to be a citizen of Guatemala. An October 5th trial date has been set for Rodney Hinton Jr. He's charged with running over and killing Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson while he was directing traffic at a UC graduation. A new Paris couple is facing drug charges. 47-year-old Matthew Jennings and 54-year-old Tanya Barth were arrested after a search warrant at their home resulted in the seizure of 20 grams of meth, paraphernalia, and cocaine. I'm Steve Vaughn.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
35 to the 40. Can he get past the kicker? Here he goes down the sideline. The 20. 10-5. Touchdown. 75 yards. And the Rams have answered right back.
Join our team as we follow your team.
So here comes Edgewood. Shot from the wing. Yes! And we will have overtime. The Firebirds now up 2-0, getting the job done with small ball.
On your ticket to high school sports, WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
Bienvenidos, amigos. That's how you are welcomed at the area's #1 Latin American foods supermercado y restaurante. And you don't have to speak or understand Spanish to enjoy all that El Gran Valle Verde has to offer. All of your favorite Latin American grocery needs are in stock, and delivery is available too. And if you're not in a cooking mood for groceries, El Gran Valle Verde has a full-service restaurante with all of your favorites. El Gran Valle Verde, nearby in the Hamilton Plaza Shopping Center on Dixie Highway in Hamilton. Nos vemos pronto.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Presented by Chumba Casino, your online casino for plays, spins, and a chance to score. Must be 21 and over. Terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors come back late to advance in the next stage of the play-in round. It was cool to see Steph and Draymond flash what they used to do on a nightly basis last night. The Warriors play Phoenix for a chance to get into the playoffs. I'm Chris Black.
Empower. Pete's back on the links with all new golf clubs and hopefully less swearing.
Dang! Sliced it.
He worked with Empower to help him get good at money, so he can be a little bad.
Heads up!
Oof. Talent sold separately.
Guy said these were slice-proof.
At least he has money for lessons. Invest well, live a little. Start today at Empower.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
From the WMOH Weather Center, a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon with a high 78. Partly cloudy tonight with a low 55. Sunny on Friday with a high 84. Friday night, partly cloudy, chance of thunderstorms, low 65. Showers and thunderstorms likely Saturday, high 75. Showers Saturday night with a low 40. Mostly sunny on Sunday with your high 58.
This is Hugh Hewitt. Join me today at 3 on WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
Make some common sense of the crazy headlines with the Dana Show podcast. Your on-the-go guide for getting up to speed on today's most important stories. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple, or your favorite podcast platform.
Listen to this story from the BBC, will you? So they're reporting that a shadow industry of law firms and advisors is charging thousands of pounds, because it's Britain, to help those illegal migrants pretend to be gay in order to stay in the UK. That's actually gay in the UK. That's actually what they're doing. I can't believe the BBC is doing this investigation, but they are. They said that what happens is these illegal immigrants are these people who are usually North African, whatever, migrants whose visas are due to run out. They're given fake cover stories, and they're told how to obtain fabricated evidence, including like letters, photographs, medical reports, and then apply for asylum claiming to be gay and in fear for their lives if they return to Pakistan or Bangladesh. So Britain's Home Office said, anyone found trying to exploit the system will face the full force of law. Well, we don't believe you. They previously, if you were gay in Britain, you would be offered protection because you couldn't go back to where your home country where you can't be gay. How? Oh man, I'm full of inappropriate comments right now. So if I was in Britain's Home Office and I was interviewing Kane, one of these migrants whose visa was set to expire, I would tell them, prove it. Bang that dude right there. I would say, prove it. That's what I would say. I can say that. I mean, I didn't on air, but you know what I mean. That's what I would say. I'd be like, prove it. And then I'd sit back with my team of law enforcement and I'd be like, do it. I'd double dog dare you. Proved that you're gay right here. So I don't think that that's what they're going to do. They're probably going to just issue a strongly worded letter, Kay.
Seems to be the pattern.
Yes, that seems to be the pattern. The other really fun thing with Britain is they had this, it was in London, it was London's Institute of Economic Affairs, Kane, pinkies out, their Institute of Economic Affairs. And so they asked Britons where the United Kingdom ranks versus US states in income per person. And the average answer was 7th. They believe they are wealthier than 43 states. The reality, you know what the reality is? They're behind everybody, even Mississippi. The Brits actually thought they were wealthier than everyone except for New Yorkers in the United States. No, they're literally below Arkansas and below Mississippi in terms of income per person. That is actually where they rank. So, yeah. They said that 27% of people were shocked and surprised. The majority of them were shocked and concerned that they actually, and the whole purpose of this was to spark reform. They literally thought that they were richer than everyone. They thought that they came in right behind like New York and California and all of that. At least they thought they came in behind Texans, but no. And they were like just deucing all over Mississippi and Alabama, but look at that. Mississippi's GDP per capita is far above that of the United Kingdom's. The UK is actually poorer than the poorest United States state. You imagine that? They said that Mississippi has higher purchasing power and a lower tax environment. Remember that, people in the South, the next time British people try to get all snotty with you. Just remember, even the poorest state in the Union has a greater income per person than the UK. Oh, by the way, and France and Spain also, it applies to them. Pinkies out. It's true. You know that, right? They Financial Times in 23, they did the same thing, talking to the French. Oh, oui, oui, kiss our baguettes. They did the same thing with France and with Spain, right? Viva la socialism! But, you know, and they're actually behind the poorest states in the Union also. So, wait a minute, you mean that they believe this lie, that they're richer and better than everybody else? Yes. And it's a lie? Look, I shouldn't take any kind of joy in that, Kane. I should not engage in the schadenfreude or the overwhelming satisfaction that comes from seeing a complete ridiculous narrative just obliterated to the point of embarrassment on the party that promoted it, right? I really shouldn't.
I really think schadenfreude is built for this exact thing.
I know, but I'm trying to be a good person, and I'm trying to go by scripture, and you're making it really, really hard for me, you absolute demon.
My apologies.
I mean, it's very difficult, you know, to resist. You're trying not to celebrate their misfortune, even though they were incredibly snotty about it. And believe me, wholeheartedly deserve all the scorn that comes their way from believing that they were in any way better than even our poorest county and our poorest state in the United States. But, you know, here we are. Can you imagine? Just saying. Just saying. So remember that. Cheerio. All right. So, oh, we got some other things we got to get into. The FAA is going to investigate an incident after 2 pilots were heard meowing and woofing. This is cut 26. I hope none of y'all were on this flight. Meowing and woofing? Mm-hmm. Meow, meow. Flight meow, meow. Can you meow, meow, play cut 26? Meow, meow.
Meow. You guys, you need to be professional pilots. Meow, 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 meow. This is why you still flying RJ. Meow. Meow, meow. Meow. It was funny the first 5 minutes. Pretty big rivulet though, if you missed.
Yeah, they're going to be in trouble now for that. Maybe it was, what's that puppet's name from the Mr. Rogers show? Daniel Lyon. Yes. It's meow, meow, Daniel Lyon, meow, meow, flying the plane. Apparently, they violated regulations prohibiting non-essential communication below 10,000 feet. So wait, you can be like shenanigans, but only under 10,000 feet.
Yes. And you heard him say in there, it's like, that's why you're flying an RJ, which is a regional jet. They're the smaller, like, pond jumpers.
Oh, I wondered what that meant. Okay.
And, yeah, just the smaller airlines, smaller
that was
commercial
mean.
aircraft. So.
And then the guy responded, meow, meow. Right. Oh, man. So, NBC4 says they're investigating. They're going to be looking at it. What is there to investigate? We're investigating the meowing that we heard. Yeah, they meowed. There's your investigation. It's still apparently unclear what they were. I mean, regional jet, I don't know where that came out of, but it was like at DCA. They were coming into DCA. So it's not one but both. They said that they're trying to figure out who was going back and forth with it. What was that, Steve?
I guess I'm not flying for a while.
Yeah, what if that was your meow, 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 meow? What happens like if the plane's, in trouble? Meow! Like, how does that work?
Have we had enough tragedies at DCA in the last 2 years? We don't need any more of this.
I mean, yeah, that's yeah.
I want more confidence in my pilot. Like when I hear the guy on the, when he comes over the intercoms, like, this is your captain speaking, and I want to hear a confident guy telling me exactly what the agenda is for this trip.
Yeah.
I don't need any of that stuff.
Someone said, yeah, it was a momentary joke. Sometimes levity reduces tension. They said that usually the people in aviation are pretty much buttoned up 105% of the time. I have a friend of mine whose dad is is now retired, flew for American Airlines and was like one of the top pilots. Like they did the water cannon, the last flight that he had. He's like, everybody, gives him deference and all that. And it was interesting and he was also a retired Air Force pilot. But when that cabin door shuts, actually we were having this conversation last night, when that cabin door shuts, they're entirely focused, point A to B at that point. That's it. You're entirely focused on that point. And is there really that much stress with a regional jet? I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know the whole aviation, the reality show of aviation, but still, yeah, I really think that maybe they shouldn't. Yeah, in case Steve goes, those dudes are not getting promoted. That's for sure. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Okay, let me throw this out here. We haven't discussed this yet, but it's on the plate to get discussed here at some point. I've been reading a lot about this. This is cut 29. What is happening to these scientists that are involved in like nuclear materials and aerospace? I'm trying not. Don't ground me. I'm trying not to sound like a conspiracy theorist like my mother. I'm trying not to sound like a conspiracy theorist. But this is weird. Cut 29.
There are now 10 American scientists who have either gone missing or died since mid-2024. They all reportedly had access to classified nuclear or aerospace material. Is anybody investigating this to see if these things are connected?
I've seen the report, Peter. I haven't spoken to our relevant agencies about it. I will certainly do that and we'll get you an answer. If true, of course, that's definitely something I think this government and administration would deem worth looking into. So let me do that for you.
Ooh. So you think it's nefarious, Kane?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. People from nuclear contractors to UFO not just conspiracy theorists, but people that have actually worked on government UFO projects. We have 10 now, and they're all in like general areas of like the Southwest of the country. Not all of them, but most of them. Like this last one, I think the nuclear contractor was out of New Mexico, for example. So, yeah, I think that there is something that could be nefarious about this.
That's really sketch. I don't like our scientists. What if it's aliens kidnapping them? I'm just saying. I don't know. I mean, I'm open to anything at this point. That is weird, though. If you work in that profession, are you just kind of like looking over your shoulder?
Now you are.
Yeah.
Now you are. I haven't heard of anybody in the UFO community or the nuclear programs or any of that just getting kidnapped, at least, especially 10 different people.
Because they haven't found where any of these people are. They're just gone. They're just missing. Just saying. No, we're going to come back to that here soon. I'm still reading up on it. I don't like to go to air with stuff unless I comb over everything. You guys know how it is. But that's still putting that on the burner. Put that on the back burner. We got more on the way as we roll towards Today's Stupidity, our partners. Our friends at Noble Gold, but you have to say it Noble Gold. Noble Gold Investments. And Noble Gold, they are a very trustworthy guide that will walk you through everything about diversifying your savings and getting precious metals to hedge any uncertainty. Because, we've all seen the headlines. We've seen the uncertainty. You've seen the geopolitical tensions. That's why currencies weak and uncertainty rises, and everybody turns to gold and silver, just as they have as a safe haven for thousands of years. So Noble Gold Investments, they help protect your savings with physical metals. They've done it for a decade. Total transparency. There's no pressure, no hidden fees. They're very clear explanations, very customer-first focus. They're all about helping you make an informed decision, not meet a sales quota. And their experience matters for retirement savings. You want someone who's proven themselves to be trustworthy. So give Noble Gold Investments a try. If you want to see how physical gold and silver can fit into your portfolio, download their free wealth protection kit only at noblegoldinvestments.com/Dana. That's noblegoldinvestments.com/Dana.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110. Guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify. 800-803-1961. 800-803-1961. 800-803-1961. That's 800-803-1961.
This Mother's Day, take a stand for the most defenseless amongst us and support women facing unexpected pregnancies. Preborn is on a mission to fund 1,000 ultrasounds before Mother's Day, and every single one matters. Because one ultrasound can change everything. One heartbeat, one image, one moment of truth that can save a life. And when a woman walks into a preborn center, she finds compassion and support and prayer and a free ultrasound that shows her the precious life that's growing inside of her. And in that moment, everything can change. That's how lives are saved. This is how mothers are empowered. This is how you defend life where it matters the most. So take a stand and defend life today, because the need is urgent. Come together, fund 1,000 ultrasounds by Mother's Day, and protect the gift of life at its most vulnerable and most precious. Go now and contribute via text to pound 250 and say the word baby, or just visit preborn.com/Dana securely. That's pound 250, say the word baby to rescue lives. Thank you for championing life and backing the Dana Show. This is Dana Lash. We'll be right back on WMOH 1450, The Ticket.
The Hugh Hewitt Show.
Hi, it's Hugh Hewitt on the next Hugh Hewitt Show. Senator Tom Cotton, Senator John Huston, Representative Jim Jordan, Haviv Rettig Gur from Israel. I've got guests galore as we get maybe closer to negotiations to end the Iran war on terms that the United States will unquestionably know our victory. All that and more on the next Hugh Hewitt Show.
He keeps his finger on the pulse in D.C. Hugh Hewitt.
Join me today at 3 on WMOH 1450 The Ticket. Keep that dial to the right.
All-Pro Anthony Munoz here for Rose Automotive, your all-pro automotive superstore. Rose delivers all-pro value and all-pro service for all makes, all models, all the time. My family and I have made Rose Automotive our one-stop shop for everything automotive. And I mean everything, sales, service, parts, and accessories. You want it, they'll deliver it. Call today at 863-7878. That's right, 863, my number, 7878. Just take exit 24 off I-75 and head to Hamilton. That's Rose Automotive, your new alternative.
My hospital stay would have cost $25,000, but with VA healthcare, it's free.
My education would have cost $42,000, but with VA benefits, my books, tuition, and housing are all covered.
The down payment for my home would have been $74,000, but with my VA home loan, my down payment was zero. My service was then. My benefits are now. Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
Not all veterans are eligible for the type or amount of benefits mentioned here.
Choosing to buy a gun was not a decision I took lightly. But with everything going on, I really wanted to feel like I could protect myself. I hadn't thought about the danger of an unlocked gun in my own home until...
Mia, where are your napkins? Ooh, not that drawer. Unless anyone needs a gun.
Now, I always lock my gun to keep everyone safe. Visit endfamilyfire.org to learn how to store your guns more securely. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
High School Baseball. Installed by AE Door and Window.
Sky, deep right field, going back to the wall, looking up. It's gone. Cam Gallis with a home run to deep right center.
Lines one back up the middle, and Fields says, "Thank you very much. I'll take that." Landon Fields. Fields is positioned very well.
Friday, Lakota West takes on Hamilton.
Swung on and missed.
Coverage begins Friday at 7:05 on 1450 The Ticket and on WMOH.com.
From the WMOH Weather Center, this afternoon will bring us a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, high 78. Partly cloudy tonight with a low 55. Sunny on Friday with a high 84. Chance of thunderstorms late Friday night with a low 65. Showers and thunderstorms likely Saturday with a high 75. Cloudy, showers likely Saturday night, low 40. Sunny on Sunday, not as warm with a high 58.
Now, back to Dana Lash on WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
Subscribe to the Dana Show podcast, because who says you can't make fun of people while staying informed on your own personal time? Subscribe on YouTube, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast.
And make sure you go check out the Substack as well, and Chapter and Verse. Lots of good stuff that goes out there on the rig. And you can read Lorraine's latest piece. It gets into all of the battle for the soul of the right and why Catholicism is being so targeted and really by this. And you're seeing it more and more and more. Let's see. So a few things to get into. Some of these headlines that you guys are putting in Slack are so bad, especially the ones. Is this the UK? Did they do this in the UK? This is a Guardian piece. If you hate body odor, you're more likely to have right-wing views, is a headline from the Guardian. That is because most far lefties smell like they took roadkill and used it to wipe their underarm area. And that's what it is. You know, that's what Tom's of Maine is, right? It's just ground up roadkill, solidified into a stick, packaged and sold at Whole Foods. It's sold there. You know that. It's in their potions aisle. You go there and you get your weird, dead animal. It is true. Why is that if you have right-wing views, you hate body odor? It's because most of these hardcore lefties are smelly. I mean, that's not anecdotal. I've lived that life. I've seen it. I hate
body odor.
Smelt it.
Because I don't like body odor.
Yeah, because you don't like dirty hippies. You don't like dirty, bad, commie hippies. That's why. You just don't like people being dirty. We invented a number of things as a people. Soap. Deodorant as a species. We invented these things. The house, which is why I don't like camping, because we invented the house, you know?
You invented the tent, too?
Huh? That's not a house. There's no electricity in there unless you're glamping, you know? I'm not going to lie and pretend. I love being outdoors. Love doing all that. I'll go hunt. I'll go, you know, if you might be able to even convince me to go glorified walking, a.k.a. hiking. But I ain't pretending that I'm homeless. I'm not cosplaying. You know, I can get back to nature and then I can go back to like a warm shower. You know what I mean? And not having to use the bathroom basically in a shed built over a cave where probably monsters live and they gobble up everybody's waste. That's how that works. We all know that out there. It's true, Kane, you know. And by the way, that's where serial killers, I don't know if you knew this, but when you get people under the age of 25 that all go camping together, like 3 or more, Jason spawns. He just spawns out in the forest like a video game baddie. Just spawns out. There's a spawn point that's triggered when 3 or more under 25s go out camp and pretend they're homeless. That's a real thing that occurs. It does, though. It occurs in nature. So I'm just saying. You know, I'm going to have a piece coming up about that, now deceased Virginia lawmaker. Just is very interesting, this Virginia lawmaker, his poor family. I feel so bad for him. Shoots himself, kills his wife. His son had to call 911. And he was a red flag guy law. He was the breaking, by the way, the tiebreaker as lieutenant governor to pass red flag in Virginia. He was a big time universal background check. He actually promoted legitimate confiscation. And then it's always the predators. You know, there's a history of Moms Demand and all these Bloomberg groups, you know, palling up with people like Eric Swalwell and all of these actual predators. They have a documented history of doing this. It's incredibly unfortunate. But we're going to have a piece up about that soon here over at Substack. In the meantime, Kane, it's Today in Stupidity time.
Nail one down. There's so much stupidity here.
Are you just drowning in blessings over there?
Yeah, actually. You know what? Let's go ahead and do Rosie O'Donnell here. Do we have time to do Rosie?
You love her. She's your best friend.
Cut 23? All right, let's do that here. She's speaking out on the Swalwell scandal. She lands on not that Swalwell's bad, but that all men are just bad. Yeah, let's hear
Now,
this.
can we talk a little bit about Eric Swalwell?
Okay, do it.
Keep going.
Keep talking.
I know that guy.
I know you do.
In the what kind of way? Like spoke to him on the phone a couple times. Donated money to him, I believe.
Yeah.
Talked about him in some public appearances years ago about how I believed in him. And
get it.
his cute little family and 2 kids. And
come on.
Oh my gosh, get to it.
Standing up to all
Get
those
to it,
people
dear
and
sweet
he,
heavens.
berates them for their moralist
She
behavior.
says that she blames all men for it.
Yeah.
And then all this comes out.
Yeah, she blamed all the men for it later
It's
on, but she
heartbreaking
takes so long. She takes so
You
long
know,
to get to it.
and
I'd rather watch paint dry. I'd rather watch roadkill decay. All right, folks, that's pretty specific. That does it for us today. Have a great rest of your evening. I'll be back behind the mic with you to finish out the week tomorrow.
1450 The Ticket. The Hugh Hewitt Show.
Hi, it's Hugh Hewitt on the next Hugh Hewitt Show. Senator Tom Cotton, Senator John Husted, Representative Jim Jordan, Haviv Rettig Gur from Israel. I've got guests galore as we get maybe closer to negotiations to end the Iran war on terms that the United States will unquestionably know our victory. All that and more on the next Hugh Hewitt Show.
He keeps his finger on the pulse in D.C. Hugh Hewitt.
Join me today at 3 on WMOH 1450 The Ticket. Keep that dial to the right.
More than 200 members of Congress are standing up for AM radio listeners. The AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act will keep AM radio in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179. Tell Congress to pass this critical legislation now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is your ticket to high school sports. WMOH, Hamilton, Fairfield, Westchester, Cincinnati. 1450 The Ticket.
With SRN News,
townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump says Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire.
The president's announcement came after Lebanon and Israel held their first direct diplomatic talks in decades this week here in Washington, hosted by Secretary of State Rubio. For more than a month, Israel and the Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group have been at war. The president wrote on social media that he had excellent conversations with Lebanon's president and Israel's prime minister, and that he'll be inviting them for talks in Washington. Greg Clugston, the White House.
A former candidate for governor of Virginia takes his own life and that of his wife. More on that sad story from correspondent Bernie Bennett.
Police say that Justin Fairfax, Virginia's former lieutenant governor and a rising star in the Democratic Party, before his career was derailed by sexual assault allegations, killed his wife before killing himself. Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis says the couple was found dead at the Northern Virginia home in Annandale after their teenage son called 911 shortly after midnight Thursday. Fairfax and his wife, Dr. Serena Fairfax, were going through a divorce, and Fairfax was served recently with papers that indicated when he was next to appear in court. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
The EPA proposing changes to recycling plastics. Some environmental groups say it's alarming.
The Environmental Protection Agency is reconsidering whether facilities that use chemicals or heat to break down plastic, known as pyrolysis, should continue being held to the same strict air pollution standards as incinerators. The plastics industry says lowering standards on such recycling would clear up confusion while still controlling emissions. Pyrolysis has long been regulated by the Clean Air Act, limiting emissions from incinerators of 9 air pollutants. An EPA change would recognize.
That is Donna Warder reporting. More from townhall.com.
I talked to a lot of great companies. Very few of them actually literally surprised me, but Fellowship Home Loans sure did. For over 20 years, Mike and Brian and the team there have been helping families do something most people think is more complicated than it has to be. Get into a home, lower their rate, or tap into equity they didn't even realize they had. Everything at Fellowship is done in-house. One roof, one great team, all with a servant-led mentality. From your first phone call to closing, you're going to get people who know you by name. They'll know your situation. They treat you like family. They're also offering a free mortgage checkup right now. Don't miss out. Rates are lower now than if you purchased or refinanced your home in the last few years. Many Fellowship customers are saving hundreds of dollars a month when refinancing, and there are no payments for 2 months. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
1450 WMOH News. I'm Steve Vaughn. Butler County is already under a level 2 out of 5 slight risk for severe thunderstorms Saturday. We could see some thunderstorms today, but nothing severe is expected. The complete forecast is coming up. A second Mason High School student is facing child porn-related charges involving AI deepfake nudes of classmates. The 16-year-old is facing 9 felony counts in juvenile court. HPD has more information on the crash that left a gaping hole in front of the smoke and vape zone on Erie Highway. The driver apparently suffered a medical issue and hit several vehicles, a fire hydrant, and a utility pole before hitting the building. The driver was taken to the hospital where their condition is unknown. The Butler County Farmers Market is offering space to vendors affected by recent changes to the Hamilton Flea. I'm Steve Vaughn.
This is your ticket to high school football.
Here comes Matthew. Oh, he's hit from the backside. Sack. Kobe Lewis got him. Blitz from the outside. Never saw it coming.
Basketball.
R.J. Wilson for 3. Got it. R.J. Wilson from straight away. He had one thing on his mind when he caught that ball. You could tell it was going up.
And baseball.
Brady Campbell comes set, and the pitch is taking strike 3 on the inside corner. Can I help you, sir?
No thanks.
Just looking.
WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
Looking for a fun, rustic place to hang out with a classic honky-tonk feel to it? You have found it at the Bearded Saddle Saloon. Under new ownership, the Bearded Saddle Saloon features homemade specials for lunch and dinner, plus line dancing on Wednesdays, open mic like Thursdays, DJ and karaoke on Fridays, live music on Saturdays, and Sundays, delicious breakfast. The Bearded Saddle Saloon is on 2 acres with beer garden and outdoor picnic area on State Route 73 at U.S. Route 127, just minutes east of Miami University in Oxford. Your entertainment destination, it's the Bearded Saddle Saloon.
Accident 71 southbound at Taft has our left shoulder taken up. Hamilton at Springdale. That is an accident that has police on the scene, and 75 North Mitchell to Paddock, about a 10-minute trip now. I'm Rick Schremp with traffic.
Sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
For tonight, mostly clear skies with an overnight low 56. Tomorrow, sunny, high 83. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms after midnight, low around 65. This is your ticket to high school baseball. Tomorrow evening, Hamilton takes on Lakota West. It's high school game day presented by AE Door and Window. Coverage begins tomorrow at 7:05 on 1450 The Ticket.
Time of division and distrust, clarity matters more than ever. This is where common sense meets conviction. This is the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Morning glory and evening grace, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt inside the Beltway on this Thursday. I hope you're having a good one. I am, and I'm beginning the program with United States Senator John Husted from my home state of Ohio. Senator, welcome back. Always good to see you. I want to start by complimenting you and Senator Marino on working with the White House to nominate Ben Flowers to the Sixth Circuit. The former Ohio Solicitor General is a fine judge. Have you figured out how the whole judicial business works yet in your second year?
So yes, it's a learning process that I am living, and Ben Flowers will do great on the Sixth Circuit. I have unfortunately and fortunately been to the Sixth Circuit many times as Secretary of State on election law issues, and it's going to be great to have somebody who has a conservative worldview on law and the Constitution join the Sixth Circuit.
Now, he's going to take for Jeff Sutton, who's stepping up to senior status. And I've been doing this long enough. I remember when Jeff Sutton was confirmed, and that's a good following a good. That's a great following a great. Second local question, I have not asked you about East Liverpool in a while. You're on Environmental and Public Affairs. Has East Liverpool been made whole? Have we taken care of East Liverpool?
Yeah, the East Palestine with the train.
Yep.
Yeah. We have two. We have East Palestine and East Liverpool. So you're right.
East Liverpool is closer to Warren. That's why I said East Liverpool, but East Palestine.
I keep in regular touch with the mayor there in East Palestine. There are a lot of good things that are happening. The environmental cleanup is and its final elements of and monitoring is going on to make sure that the water there is clean and without pollutants. And there's also going to be hopefully some economic development that comes from it, because I know that the state, with our assistance and working with Norfolk Southern, are going to build. There's going to build a training facility there. Hopefully, put some infrastructure in as well to maybe give them an opportunity for an industrial park. But we continue to work collaboratively with them, and of course, I'm sponsoring the Rail Safety Act to make sure that something like this does not happen again in East Palestine, East Liverpool, or anywhere else for that matter.
East or West.
We don't need any more train accidents and any spills that put any community in the position that the East Palestine was in.
Senator, not much of a curveball because you're on Environment and Public Works. President opened up a new pipeline from, I think, the Pittsburgh area up to New York to deliver natural gas. Permitting reform, I don't know if that's in front of your committee, but with oil up at $94 a barrel, is permitting reform going to make it? Do the Democrats realize we absolutely have to move our oil and natural gas?
Yeah, Hugh, I think it's the most important under-discussed issue pending in Congress right now, because if we want to compete with China, we've got to be able to go faster in building our infrastructure, whether that is judicial reform, the NEPA reform, all that's part of permitting reform, because I don't care where you are. We don't need the case I've been making to the Democrats is that, look, you may not like it when President Trump cancels your wind farm. Well, we don't like it when President Obama and President Biden cancel pipeline projects. Okay, so once they're permitted, they should stay permitted. We shouldn't change the rules on these kinds of things. But if you ever want to build, I say to the Democrats, you want to build high-speed rail, you want to build reservoirs, you want to build power lines from the desert to the city, you have to have permitting reform, just like we need permitting reform to put gas pipelines that will help get to refineries, get to natural gas to help heat homes, to fuel industrial parks, to fuel to build the electric power generation sites that we need to help drive down the cost of electricity. Because look, as we're building more data centers to help with e-commerce and AI, well, we don't want electricity prices to go up, so we got to build more energy. So permitting reform is foundational to doing that, and they tell you, anyone in the private sector says, look, the estimate is $1.5 trillion in private capital sitting on the sidelines waiting for permitting reform to happen that will help boost the American economy.
And boy, if you get that done, what a boom, especially if the strait remains closed or at least endangered for any period of time. Now let me turn to the green eye shade stuff. You're on the Appropriations Committee. For the benefit of everyone listening, that's probably the most important committee in the Congress. Susan Collins is your chair. You got 11 out of 12 appropriations bills done this year for the first time in like 30 years. DHS is still not done. What have you and your colleagues in the Republican conference and Leader Thune, what have you decided to do? Are you doing reconciliation? Are you going to make another run at getting DHS open? What's the deal?
Yeah, well, it's going to go through the Budget Committee for reconciliation is what I believe is going to happen. Remember what the Democrats did. They refused to fund the Department of Homeland Security even when we're in the heart of a conflict with the leading sponsor of state terrorism, Iran. They don't want to fund Homeland Security, but what they really don't want to fund is border control. They don't want to fund immigrations and custom enforcement. They literally are defunding the police at the most critical time that we need them. So we're going to do this through the reconciliation process. That's what the president needs us to get done. That's what we need to get done. We hope to go quickly. I hope in a matter of a couple of weeks this can be accomplished. But I want to reiterate, Democrats, at the point we are in the middle of this conflict with Iran, don't want to fund the Department of Homeland Security. And you know the stories of the most recent one, heartbreaking murder in Chicago,
yes.
of the young college student there. I think it's Sheridan Gorman.
Yeah, she went to Loyola. Yep.
Yeah, in Loyola, Chicago. You have people coming into this country because this is a Democrat strategy. Let them all come in, house them in sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, defund the Department of Homeland Security so none of them can be deported. That's what we're going to put an end to.
Well, I hope you get it done. In the reconciliation, last question, Senator, will the defense supplemental be attached to the DHS budget reconciliation bill, or is it just going to be a straight funding for the agency?
Look, a lot of people have creative ideas. I think that the reconciliation is going to be very narrow, focused on DHS, because we need to get it done now. And anytime you add something to it, even if it's a good idea, if it slows the process down, I think that detracts from our mission. And there's still plenty of time to get the DHS or the supplemental on the military accomplished before the end of the year.
Senator John Husted, always good to talk to you and catch up. Congratulations again on Ben Flowers and other good judicial nominees. You're doing great work for the state of Ohio, and I appreciate your doing it and joining me today. Thank you, Senator. Hey, everybody out there, I want to tell you about, I want to put on your calendar April 30th through May I want to make sure it's the 5th or the 6th, May 6th. April 30th through May 6th on more than 600 screens across the United States. The Story of Everything is going to be in the big screen. And if you want to learn more about it, thestoryoferything.film is where you go. Scientists talk about how wild it is that the universe is so finely tuned They talk about how it's just so improbable, indeed impossible, that everything worked out that way, how the mathematical beauty and the scientific puzzles, they all add up to a designer, an intelligent design. And our friends at the Discovery Institute have created this beautiful movie. It is done shot in Dolby Vision, using Dolby Sound, premium big screen experience, but you got to mark it down, April 30th through May 6th only, in 600 theaters across the United States. You're going to see displayed the best argument for the argument from design, and done in such a way that you'll just be blown away. Because when the Discovery Institute does something, they do it really, really well. Go visit thestoryofeverything.film, thestoryofeverything.film. Now let me take my Relief Factor and to my new affiliate, WHKY in Hickory, North Carolina, on AM 1290 and FM 102.3 FM. Folks in Hickory, I do this every day. I take this every day. Today I did 6.5 miles. I went further than I thought, and I went faster than I thought I was going to do. And I'm surprised whenever I have a negative split. I really am. I went out in an hour, and I got back in 56 minutes. And I said, oh, I'm going to feel that tomorrow. But probably not, because I take Relief Factor today. If you're watching on the Salem News Channel, there are the 4 pills in my hand, and a little sip of Trader Joe's sparkling water, and I'm on my way to another day of feeling good. After already 3 6s this week, I'll just walk tomorrow morning, because I got to do a long run on Saturday morning. Relief Factor really works. You ought to give it a try. 1-800, the number 4, and the word relief. Ask for the starter pack, $19.95, less than $1 a day for 3 weeks. That's at 1-800, the number 4, and the word relief, or go to their website, relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. I'll be right back, America. Stay tuned to Salem News Channel, Salem Radio Network, and our great radio affiliates.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
In a world where more and more people decide what's right and wrong based on how they feel, what happens when feelings become the only moral standard? If emotions alone define truth, then who decides why murder, theft, or violence are wrong? And if someone feels justified in destroying property or harming others, on what basis can society say they're wrong? For 50 years, Dennis Prager has challenged audiences around the world to think deeply about the moral foundations of civilization. In his new book, If There Is No God, he confronts the biggest questions of human existence. Why does evil go unpunished? Why do innocent people suffer? And can morality survive without God? Whether a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, this book offers serious answers for a morally confused age. Clear, provocative, and accessible. If There Is No God by Dennis Prager. Available now at PragerStore.com. That's PragerStore.com.
High school baseball, installed by AE Door and Window.
Pitch on the way, and that's taken strike 3. Can I help you, sir? No thanks, I'm just looking.
Friday, Lakota West takes on Hamilton. Coverage begins Friday at 7:05 on 1450 The Ticket.
If you need a Clopay garage door, go to AE Door and Window.
Save up to 15% through the end of April.
Purchase a LiftMaster garage door opener
and save up to $125 installed.
You know, people in the tri-state love backyard living, so AE Door and Window also offers awnings.
Summer Space retractable awnings are 15% off, plus big savings on entry doors and windows from Pella and Provia. Combine your order and save another 5%.
Learn more at aeDoorsales.com.
We sell the best and service the rest. AE.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Hey, this is Chad Benson. Join me tomorrow morning at 9 right here on WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
Delays on 75 southbound, off-ramp to 275 with a crash. 71 south at Taft. It's an accident on the left shoulder. Delays to MLK. And we've got Hamilton at Springdale with an accident. Police on the scene here. I'm Rick Schrempf with traffic.
For tonight, mostly clear skies with an overnight low 56. Tomorrow, sunny with a high 83. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms after midnight, low 65. Saturday, showers, possibly a thunderstorm, high 76. Wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. Sunday, mostly sunny, high just 58. This is WMOH, 1450 The Ticket.
No deal. Would you be willing to extend the ceasefire, or will the fighting resume, Mr. President?
I would say the fighting. If there's no deal, fighting resume.
Okay. And then on gas prices, on a 20-year minimum to stop enriching uranium, would you?
Well, we haven't agreed to any. We haven't agreed to any.
To you, sir, if that's the final sticking point.
What we have is we have a statement, very powerful statement, that they will not have beyond 20 years, that they will not have nuclear weapons. That's beyond. There's no 20-year limit.
Welcome back, America. That's President Trump on the White House lawn last hour. I'm joined now by United States Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas, member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Senator Cotton, President just said, no deal, the fighting resumes. He also just said no 20-year limit on enrichment, no enrichment, period. Do you understand those both to be the red lines?
Yeah, I mean, Hugh, I don't know what more to say to people who doubt this. The president has said this now for 9 years, more than 9 years if you include his campaign, I guess 11 years, that Iran cannot have the infrastructure needed to make nuclear weapons. It's not just a promise that Iran is going to make to the United States and the civilized world for 3 or 5 or 10 or 20 years. That was the heart of Barack Obama's deal with them. It's just relying on the promises of a revolutionary, fanatical terrorist regime. They can't have the tools and the infrastructure to do so. And the president has been totally clear about it going back to his first campaign, and that's why we largely destroyed that program last summer. And that's why, in part, we launched Operation Epic Fury, because they had not abandoned their nuclear ambitions, and they were hoping to go the North Korea route, which is to build an impenetrable conventional wall of missiles and drones that would deter the United States and Israel from ever striking their nuclear program again.
They have clearly failed at that, and now we've got the blockade, and we had a great press conference this morning from Secretary Hegseth and General Kane. Do you think we will maintain that blockade as long as it's necessary to bring Iran to its knees, Senator?
I do, Hugh. I think what you saw for 5 or 6 weeks is the United States and Israel pulverizing Iran's military, their missiles and missile launchers, their drones, their Navy, their Air Force, their command and control facilities, headquarters. And now we're also putting them in an economic vice. Every day that ships can't go into and out of Iranian ports, they're losing somewhere on the order of about $500 million. And that's just not a price that Iran continued to pay, given that their economy was already in shambles and they were already suffering from hyperinflation. So I think the president's point of view that he stated last week when the blockade started was either everything comes out or nothing comes out.
Well, I hope he does, and I hope Americans have the patience and the willingness to sacrifice, because this regime's got to go away. Senator, if I can switch over to the supplemental. I know there's no official request yet, but Senator Houston, from the great state of Ohio, about whom you could learn some things about football, Senator Houston just told me that he expects the reconciliation to be very narrow and not have a lot of ads on, just get the DHS funded and open. Is that what you're hearing too?
Yeah, Hugh, that what we're going to proceed on next week is a bill that's going to fund Border Patrol and Immigrations and Customs Enforcement through the end of the Trump presidency. We're not going to let the Democrats, for instance, take TSA and American Flying Public hostage again because they want to defund the immigration police. What we heard this morning from Secretary Hegseth is the department is not ready yet to provide us the final numbers, in part because you heard the president say in that clip you just played, it's very possible we might see a renewal of the fighting. We'll get that supplemental request eventually, though, when the department has a firm number. And, the tradition has been bipartisan support situations. This is, replenishing prior defenses. But if the Democrats, are digging their heels and, once again, rooting for American failures you see today, then we still have another budget resolution to you that we can move forward on to make sure that we're restoring military funding to where it needs to be.
All right, good. That is the relief that I wanted to hear. Now, yesterday, Leader Schumer went on the floor and he declared that we're losing the war with Iran. Now, that's insane. That's truly like trying to keep us in the game. Maybe it was Monday. I guess it was Monday I was on Special Report and I saw the clip. It's like trying to keep the Republicans in the game for the fall. Do the Democrats really believe in their heart of hearts that we're losing this war, which we've quite obviously won to date?
Yeah, Hugh, I think what a lot of Democrats and the media believe, although I guess I repeat myself there, is, they're rooting for America to lose. I think Tom Friedman said it best a few days ago. He's the famous New York Times columnist, kind of a perfect embodiment of conventional opinion among the center-left in Washington and New York, is that Iran is really bad and he kind of wants them to lose, but he would hate for Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu to get a political victory. And if he had to choose, he'd probably go with a political loss for Trump and Netanyahu. And that's just where the Democrats and the media in America are today. It's shameful.
So I want to conclude by asking you, Senator, yesterday I was moderating a panel with two former national security advisors, O'Brien from the United States and Japan's former NSA, and Prime Minister Morrison from Australia, former. And I said, look, NATO seems to me to be in the rearview mirror, the Quad plus in Asia, and maybe the Quad in the Middle East, Israel, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia and America. Are you losing faith in NATO the way I am? And that's pretty hard for me to say because I'm a Reaganite.
Yeah, Hugh, some of our NATO partners, let's just say, have not been very good partners over the last 2 months. It's one thing, Hugh, for a European nation to say, this is not our fight. We didn't support this. This is not within NATO's treaty boundaries. We're not going to go to the Middle East and fight with you. Well, it would be nice if some would. That's one thing. It's a whole different kettle of fish, Hugh, for those NATO nations to say to America, you can't use our airspace. And by the way, you can't use the bases that we have here. That is a significant difference than just not actively fighting alongside us outside of NATO's treaty territory. And I think those leaders are going to have a lot to answer for when this is over. Unfortunately, I think most of them are doing this not out of some geopolitical calculation or strategic insight. They're doing it because most of them are very unpopular, and they see Carney in Canada high up in the polls by opposing Donald Trump on everything, and they want to do that in their domestic politics as well.
Well, I want to end with Carney and Starmer's government. Starmer didn't say this. I think it's Chancellor of the Exchequer did, blasting us, and Carney's been blasting us. Has Five Eyes run its course? Now, you're on the Intel Committee, and for the benefit of the Steelers fans, that is Canada and the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom have cooperated on intelligence sharing at the highest level since World War II. I'm beginning to wonder if we can trust them. What do you think?
Hugh, on that front, I do think we can. The cooperation at the professional level is very strong, and although obviously we're the biggest and most powerful nation of the Five Eyes Consortium, those other four nations, because of their geographic location, because of their history and their cultural and economic connections in their regions of the world, do provide us some valuable intelligence and insights that we might not otherwise be able to get. That is, of course, a different kettle of fish than fighting alongside each other on the battlefield. But on the intelligence collection front, the cooperation is still strong.
I hope it remains not just strong, but secure. Some of those people and some of those governments really worry me. Senator Tom Cotton, always a pleasure. Follow me on X at Send Tom Cotton. Follow me to the next segment, America. We got a lot coming up. I don't know if Congressman Jordan's going to be able to make it or not. They had a House.
$14.50 WMOH News. I'm Steve Vaughn. We're going to have a big cooling off this weekend. Severe storms are possible Saturday, followed by highs in the 50s Sunday. The complete forecast is coming up. We now know more about a serious motor vehicle accident in Hamilton Tuesday. The driver suffered a medical issue before they hit several vehicles, a fire hydrant, and a utility pole before plowing into the front of the smoke and vape zone on South Erie Highway. The driver taken to the hospital in an unknown condition. Another Mason High School teen is facing charges in Warren County Juvenile Court, accused of uploading deepfake nude photos of classmates he allegedly used AI to create. According to Channel 5's Karen Johnson, the 16-year-old is facing 9 felony counts. One of the videos uploaded depicts a victim being raped. I'm Steve Vaughn, WMOH, 1450 The Ticket.
High school baseball, installed by AE Door and Window.
Pitch on the way, and that's taken strike 3. Can I help you, sir? No thanks, I'm just looking.
Friday, Lakota West takes on Hamilton. Coverage begins Friday at 7:05 on 1450 The Ticket.
My friend Ed Larkin and the good folks at Rose Automotive have a big announcement to make. They are now the proud owners of Larkin Cobb Chevrolet Buick GMC in Eaton, Ohio. Larkin Cobb can handle all your Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC needs. Go see my friends at 500 East Main Street in downtown Eaton, a short drive from Dayton, Cincinnati, and Richmond, Indiana. My friends from Rose Automotive are thrilled to be serving the Eaton market and can't wait to help you into your next Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC. Larkin Cobb, drive the extra 20 to save plenty.
We plant trees because people need trees, and when planted in the right place, they have great impact. Trees help slow climate change, filter our air and water, foster biodiversity, and strengthen our communities. They create the kind of transformational change the world needs now. April is a month filled with opportunities to care for and plant trees. For planting resources, contact an Ohio ISA certified arborist who can help you learn how to take the best care of your trees. Visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Presented by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Steph Curry has done enough in his career to be in the conversation of an all-time great. Each time he does something to continue that conversation, you have to ask, how great is he? He's the best point guard in NBA history. Yep, I said it, and you know it's true. Nobody has changed the game like Curry, and very few have won at his level. I'm Chris Black.
Hey, it's Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace from 2311 Racing. On the track, every second counts. And off the track, the same rules apply. Just fewer pit stops. That's why we're spinning into Chumba Casino. From social live casino to slot masters, the action's fast, fun, and totally free. Rack up points, climb the leaderboard, and take home bragging rights. Play anytime, anywhere. No downloads needed. Join the race at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21, present in the state where it's legal to play.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. I cannot wait to talk to Glenn and Rhett, a couple of buddies of mine who I know from the Wild Adventure, TWA.US, and Glenn is a lawyer, is helping out in the Trump administration. Rhett, of course, along with Irene, they run BestHotGrill.com, one of our great sponsors. And in fact, I'll tell you about BestHotGrill.com right now. There are so many different kinds of grills, but you really ought to use the try it before you buy it grill. They got a half dozen different sizes of Best Hot Grill, but their demo program, the Solaire Demo Rental Program, is the program that you ought to try before you buy. All you do is call them up or go online, besthotgrill.com, say, I want the demo rental. They send you the grill for 2 weekends and the weekend between. You put everything you want to try on there, steak, fish, veggies. Can't believe people put veggies on the grill, but apparently they do. But the steak, you will love it. And at the end, you clean it off, you put it in your UPS bag, your UPS box, you send it back to Best Hot Grill, and you get a coupon for $47 off any of the 6 models, which if you're watching on the Salem News Channel, you can see right now. Best deal in the world. Once you try your Best Hot Grill, your Solaire infrared grill, you'll get one. I've got one on both coasts. I can assure you they're fabulous. You will love them. But I got to ask Rhett and I got to ask Glenn about our Pope. Because our Pope, well, the president was talking about him again today. Cut number 16 on the White House lawn.
Why are you fighting with the Pope? And are you worried it's upsetting your
No, I don't. I have to do what's right. The Pope has to understand that. Very simple. I have nothing against the Pope. His brother's MAGA all the way. I like his brother, Louis. I'm not fighting with him. The Pope made a statement. He says Iran can have a nuclear weapon. I say Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if the Pope looked at the 42,000 people that were killed over the last 2 or 3 months as a protester with no weapons, no nothing, I mean, you take a look at that. So I could disagree with the Pope. I have a right to disagree.
So, look, they're shadow boxing. The Pope doesn't direct anything specifically to the president, but the president always directs things specifically to the Pope. And I'm a Catholic. I'm here to tell you that the Pope's comments on war, and I'm paraphrasing here, forgive me, God doesn't hear the prayers of people who wage war. That's not Catholic doctrine. Catholic doctrine is the just war doctrine that goes back to Augustine and Aquinas and the Summa. And he wasn't speaking ex cathedra out of infallibility. He's from Chicago. Look, I want more than anything else to interview the Pope because he's basically me. He's born in 55. I'm born in 56. He goes to college a year ahead of I do. And then he goes to the seminary, and I go to work for Richard Nixon. And then he goes to Moore Seminary, and I go to law school. And then he goes to the Augustinians, and he goes to live in Peru and work with the poor. And I go into practicing law and broadcasting. But we grew up in the same era, and he was on the wrong side of that era. I saw a picture of him yesterday at the Nuclear Freeze Movement. I was in the White House counsel's office when the bishops were sending us their crazy letters. So I don't know what he knows about national security, but I'm not holding it against him. He's the spiritual leader of my church. Unless he speaks infallibility, invoking infallibility, I don't have to really pay much attention. I hope he appoints good cardinals. He needs to appoint Cardinal Gomez, Bishop Gomez cardinal. But the next consistory will tell us he ought to appoint Archbishop Chaput a cardinal, even though Archbishop Chaput is almost 80 or over 80. He'd never vote in a conclave, but it's an honorific thing, and Francis didn't like Americans who weren't lefties like himself. It was that simple. I don't think that's Leo. I think he's just from Chicago. And so he's like a White Sox fan, too, and we got to correct for that curve. My buddy Scott Bertram, who runs Radio Free Hillsdale, teaches journalism up there. Scott's a White Sox fan, too. So I'm always got a soft spot in my heart for White Sox fans because, my goodness, they're more forlorn than Guardian fans. They're absolutely, they're already out of it, I think, and the Guardians are a game behind the Twins. But Scott will tell you, it's just not a good thing to be from Chicago. Let me tell you about Consumer Cellular, another one of my great sponsors. 1-800, the number, 888, no, let me get it right. I'll come back and do it later. Consumer Cellular, 1-800-411-4454. 1-800-411-4454. Believe me when I say you will save money with the best customer service in America. You'll be talking to a live person within 30 seconds. You will get your second month free if you use my name, Hugh, when you talk to them. And if you are 50 years or older, you get the best deal going. One line, unlimited talk, text, and data for $35 a month. So visit consumercellular.com/Hugh or call 800-411-4454. 800-411-4454. Make sure you use my name, Hugh, so you get your second month free. And if you're over 50, ask for the $35 everything all in, unlimited usage for 50 years and older, one-line plan. I'll be right back on the Hugh Hewitt Show.
If you own a home and need cash, you can unlock thousands of dollars from your home equity quickly and easily. Call LendGo today at 888-898-4211. At LendGo, you can find out how much cash you could get with a home equity loan in just 2 minutes. It's free, there's no obligation, and it won't affect your credit score. Use the money for anything. Pay off high-interest debt, make home improvements, or just give your budget some breathing room. Best of all, you keep your low mortgage rate while you're getting the cash you need. See how much you can get today. Call 888-898-4211. That's 888-898-4211. Or visit lendgo.com. That's LENDGO.com. Homeowners nationwide are doing it. Now it's your turn. Call 888-898-4211 today. LendGo, where homeowners go to get cash. 888-898-4211.
Right now in Ukraine, elderly Jews are trapped in unbearable poverty. Galina is a 96-year-old Holocaust survivor who has spent her entire life in the same village. She's sick, alone, and facing another bitterly cold winter. Today, like every day, she must decide whether to spend what little money she has on food, medication, or heating. No one should have to live like this, but for Galina and so many others, this is the harsh reality. The Bible tells us that when you bless elderly Jews living in poverty like Galina, you will receive blessings in return. Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews and your generous donation, you can bring hope to those in need. Your gift of just $25 will help provide a food box packed full of life-saving essentials that will help feed an elderly Jew struggling to survive. Don't delay. Your gift today will help provide the life-saving food and hope that Galina and many like her so desperately need. Visit urgentifcj.org. That's one word, urgentifcj.org, or call right now, 866-338-IFCJ. That's 866-338-4322.
1450 The Ticket. Looking for a friendly, fun tavern? Nick and Norm's Tavern on the west side of Hamilton has a friendly and entertaining staff, great food, and a large drink selection. At Nick and Norm's Tavern, you can play pool and darts inside, or you can sit in their outdoor area to enjoy your food and drinks. Singo and bike nights with Queen of Hearts drawing are on Wednesdays, Thirsty Thursdays, a DJ and karaoke on Fridays, and live bands on Saturdays. Stop in to Nick and Norm's Tavern on Millville Avenue at Wasserman Road on the west side of Hamilton. Nick and Norm's Tavern, a proud supporter of local youth athletics.
We've got a country to save.
Larry Elder.
Democrats can't bring themselves to denounce Hassan Piker, who says Hamas is 1,000 times better than Israel. Are you kidding me? 1,000 times better than Israel? I don't care about women who've been raped on October the 7th, and Republicans are the biggest terrorists internationally. You can't even summon the nerve to condemn this guy?
The Larry Elder Show.
Join me weekday evenings at 6 on WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
We have delays on 75 southbound after Cinday. 2 right lanes blocked with emergency crews on the scene. On Ronald Reagan Highway at Blue Ash, an accident has the right lane taken out. Ronald Reagan Highway at 71 is an accident. Cruiser there. 75 southbound at 275. 2 right lanes are blocked with an accident. I'm Rick Schrempf with traffic.
Sponsored by Stand Up to Cancer.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart.
Uh-oh.
She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
For tonight, mostly clear skies with an overnight low 56. Tomorrow, sunny, high 83. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms after midnight, low around 65. This is your ticket to high school baseball. Tomorrow evening, Hamilton takes on Lakota West. It's high school game day presented by AE Door and Window. Coverage begins tomorrow at 7:05. on 1450 The Ticket.
But Eliana Johnson is the editor-in-chief of the Washington Free Beacon, also a participant on the Daily Commentary podcast. And we were just laughing about that off air because of when people are on mute and they're not supposed to be on mute. Eliana, I want to begin by asking you just generally about the war and whether or not you think we have won.
I think we are winning. I don't think we have won. So long as we have not denuded Iran of its nuclear material, and President Trump has said we want the dust. We want the dust, and we want them to say they are going to give up their aspirations for a nuke. But unlike what you are hearing from the mainstream media, the doomsaying from the mainstream media, we are obviously winning this war. And I think what we heard this morning from the Pentagon, that we are expanding this blockade to all ships that are part of Iran's shadow fleet, regardless of their nationality, and we will pursue them beyond the Middle East and continue the blockade as long as necessary, indicates that we are now strangling them economically, and we are on the road to victory.
Now, I want to play for you what he said on the lawn about an hour ago, because it's different from what Vice President Vance said when he came out of the negotiations, and I'm always kind of listening closely to, is there a difference here? Cut number 14, President Trump on the dust.
On a 20-year minimum to stop enriching uranium, would you?
Well, we haven't agreed to any. We haven't agreed to any.
To you, sir, if that's the final sticking point.
What we have is we have a statement, very powerful statement, that they will not have beyond 20 years. That they will not have nuclear weapons. That's beyond. There's no 20-year limit.
All right, so there's no 20-year limit. Eliana, did I not hear J.D. Vance say we offered them a 20-year limit?
He did say that, and I think it's possible that President Trump, may not have been privy to everything that was going back and forth in the negotiations. But at this point, Hugh, I think it's irrelevant because Iran was not open to a 20-year minimum. I don't think there's a scenario or to giving up their nuclear aspirations for 20 years, and I don't think that they are going to cede developing nuclear weapons or let us in to remove nuclear material of their own volition. So it seems to be a moot point, but it does seem possible that President Trump wasn't aware of what was going back and forth at the negotiating table in Islamabad. I said this on the commentary podcast. I think there's a lot we don't know about what was said in that room in Islamabad, and I don't really trust the reporting about it.
I don't either, and I wouldn't expect Envoy Witkoff, Kushner, or the Vice President to tell us. But the Vice President did say, we offered them 20, and they said they'd accept 5. And I thought, 20? That's not good enough. These people are fanatics. They're lunatic. In fact, let me play for you my favorite clip of the week. I'm playing it for everyone, Eliana. Secretary of State Rubio on the people who run Iran. Let's play that.
These people are lunatics. They are insane. They are religious zealots who can never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon because they have an apocalyptic vision of the future. And all of their neighbors know that, by the way, which is why all of their neighbors have been supportive of the efforts we're conducting.
So, Eliana, I consider that to be a strategic win to have the Secretary of State say that into a microphone on camera. Had you heard it before?
Well, I think both Secretary Rubio and President Trump have been saying this for the past 20 years. They've been quite consistent. I think it's an important statement. And Hugh, that's the reason they won't give up their nuclear material and their nuclear weapons. Right now, they're fighting for their survival. And if they don't have those nuclear weapons, there's really no reason for this regime to exist. By the way, President Trump's statement that 20 years isn't good enough, that's the second time he said that. He also said that a couple of days ago when he told the New York Post, I don't like 20 years. And one other note that I think was important as far as the efficacy of the economic strangulation we're engaged in was a report in Iran International that I saw this morning that Iran has halted petrochemical exports in order to supply their domestic market. And I think that's an indication of the efficacy of the strikes on their petrochemical plants and the fact that this blockade is working. They are not getting anything in to that country.
They have no money, and they're going to, whatever reserves they have, they're going to blow through, and I think it's going to crumble. I think it's going to crumble. Now, I heard
Senator
you talking
Cotton
about...
said, about $500 million a day. The number I've seen is $435 million a day they're losing, and it's really just a matter of time. It's important to note that in January, when those protests took place, the source of that protest was economic dissatisfaction among areas in Iran that have traditionally been supportive of this regime, and that is where we're turning the screws right now.
And I hope we keep turning them. Eliana, now you mentioned the Free Beacon story on the University of North Carolina. I have a brand new affiliate down in Hickory, North Carolina, so I want you to tell the world about this because I couldn't believe it when you described it on the commentary pod.
It's a really remarkable story about an uproar that took place, and I want to shout out the reporter of that story, a senior at the University of North Carolina, Ashley Dowdney, who reported about the uproar that took place on that campus after the Daily Tar Heel, the student newspaper down there, published an April Fool's Day issue making light of issues about immigration, race, ICE, and the daily student-run late-night show did a spoof send-up of wealthy sorority girls that touched on some of the same issues, and they were denounced by a senior official at the university who said the content was unacceptable and pledged to investigate this late-night show. He only walked back the comments when FIRE, the free speech organization, put him on blast. Meanwhile, all of the students, the student journalist issued groveling apologies, pledged to undergo DEI training and institute DEI training at these institutions. And I hold the adults responsible for this, but really the profile and courage was of this single student journalist who filed this report in the Free Beacon. And I think it's important to note, we've talked a lot, did we reach peak woke? And I think, we did. That's receding thanks in large part to the actions of the Trump administration. But these things are still going on. Students are being bullied. Speech is still being suppressed on college campus. And this is a college that is funded with taxpayer dollars in the state of North Carolina.
It's so clearly unconstitutional. When I heard it, I wanted to try and text Harmeet Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, to get her down to Charlotte.
The story is worth reading in full to capture all the insanity.
Freebeacon.com. Eliana Y. Johnson on X. Always good to talk to you, Eliana. Don't go anywhere, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
High school baseball, installed by AE Door and Window.
Pitch on the way, and that's taken strike three. Can I help you, sir? No thanks, I'm just looking.
Friday, Lakota West takes on Hamilton. Coverage begins Friday at 7:05 on 1450 The Ticket.
Hey, Butler County, Cincinnati State is your community college. With affordable tuition, you can save 40 to 50% on the first 2 years of a 4-year degree, or earn an associate's degree with little or no student debt. Small class sizes mean you get the attention you deserve, and you'll find all kinds of support for your success. For a quality education, hands-on or online, it all starts at cincinnatistate.edu/Middletown.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-522-2174. 800-522-2174. 800-522-2174.
We're seeing delays 75 southbound after Sinde. Accident with the two right lanes blocked. 75 south of 275. Right lanes are taken up and delays back to Union Center here. And we have Ronald Reagan Highway at Blue Ash with an accident in the left lane, left shoulder affected. Ronald Reagan Highway at 71. I'm Rick Shrimp with traffic.
Hey, this is Chad Benson. Join me tomorrow morning at 9 right here on WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
Welcome back, America. Hugh Hewitt inside the Beltway in the Relief Factor studio. Welcome. I want to go back and get the rest of President Trump's clips from the White House gaggle that he did maybe an hour and a half ago. Here he is on the key breakthrough, cut number 12.
The big thing we have to do is we have to make sure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, because if they do, you want to talk about problems, you'd have problems. So very important is that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, and they've agreed to that. Iran's agreed to that, and they've agreed to it very powerfully. They've agreed to give us back the nuclear dust that's way underground because of the attack we made with the B-2 bombers. So we have a lot of agreement with Iran, and I think something's going to happen very positive.
That is amazing if they agree to utterly abandon their nuclear ambition and to turn over the highly enriched uranium. However, you never know when that regime is lying to you. We will wait and see. On the blockade, President Trump said this, cut number 15.
The next in-person
Probably, maybe over the weekend.
Will you send the Vice President? Will you send the Vice
Just so you
President?
understand, the blockade has been incredible. It's held. They're not doing any business. They're unable to do any business because of the blockade. And so the combination of having no Navy, having no Air Force, having no anti-aircraft equipment, they have nothing. Everything is gone, including their leaders. Now they have a new set of leaders, and we find them very reasonable.
We don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. The president knows who they are. I hope that they're reasonable. We'll see. Finally, he said this about the blockade, cut number 18.
And a very powerful blockade. The blockade is maybe more powerful than the bombing, if you want to know the truth.
Are you going to make the Arab countries pay a portion of all of the costs?
I think they'll make that. I think they're going to make that contribution. I think the Arab countries, because we've done a lot, I think they'd make a contribution toward the cost.
All right. Now, I also want to switch it up on the economy, the underlying economy. We're worried about cost of oil and all that. Rick Santelli on CNBC this morning on the latest numbers, cut number 6.
Philly Fed Business Outlook. Now that's the manufacturing side of the equation. It comes in at minus, it comes in at 26.7. No minus there. That's 2.5 times what we expected. We're looking for a number around 10. Empire yesterday was quite strong as well. 26.7. Wow. That would be the best level since January of 25, since Jan of 25. Really have to go back. And I know that, Joe, you've been paying very close attention and talking to many of the people on the Hill about what's going on with manufacturing. Many believe, we're not really making an impact. It's a long runway to actually bring it onshore. But what we have noticed is the last jobs report, we've seen a pickup of manufacturing jobs. We've seen Empire, Philly. Now, I know in many ways this is anecdotal, but, that's the way many big issues start, as anecdotal evidence. So we want to pay close attention to that.
Anecdotal evidence is evidence of anecdotes, but sometimes you have to watch them. Like, for example, if it's an anecdote about a meteor heading towards you, you really want to pay attention. Manufacturing up, that's good. Stay tuned. Hour number 3 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Show straight ahead.
WMOH 1450 The Ticket. High school baseball. Installed by AE Door and Window.
Sky, deep right field, going back to the wall, looking up, it's gone! Cam Gallis with a home run to deep right center.
Lines one back up the middle, and Fields says, thank you very much, I'll take that. Landon Fields. Fields is positioned very well.
Friday, Lakota West takes on Hamilton.
Swung on and missed.
Coverage begins Friday at 7:05 on 1450 The Ticket and on WMOH.com.
Have you recently opened a brand new business and want to get the word out that you're open? Have an existing business and looking to increase profitability? Or are you looking to staff your new or existing business with employees? This is where WMOH Radio can be of help to you. Advertise your business to reach WMOH Radio's local and loyal listeners with your message that your business is open and ready to serve or looking for workers. Give us a call, 513-863-1111, and let us put the power of locally owned and operated 1450 WMOH Radio go to work for you.
This is your ticket to Miami University Sports. WMOH, Hamilton, Fairfield, Westchester, Cincinnati. 1450 The Ticket.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he has agreed to attend a ceasefire in Lebanon.
In a video statement, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that he's taking the step in an attempt to advance peace efforts with Lebanon. Speaking with reporters outside the White House, President Donald Trump says he's hopeful.
Lebanon is very exciting. I think we're going to have a deal. Lebanon will be meeting with Israel, and they're probably going to do it at the White House.
Israel and Lebanon open negotiations this week in Washington aimed at forging a peace agreement. The Hezbollah militant group, which has been fighting Israel for 6 weeks, has said it opposes the dialogue. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
The U.S. is warning Iran that combat operations will resume if there's no new peace deal.
Even as the U.S. engages in discussions with Iran about further peace talks, the Pentagon says the military is poised to resume its attacks. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says if Iran chooses poorly, then they will have a blockade and bombs dropping on infrastructure, power, and energy. At the same briefing, Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane said U.S. forces were ready to resume major combat operations at literally a moment's notice. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Former Senator Jim Talent notes that the U.S. does have the upper hand.
We've destroyed their inventories. We've destroyed the industrial base that produced the inventories.
A push by GOP leaders promoting Turning Point USA, raising free speech issues.
While Republican governors say the partnerships counter the oppression of conservative voices in education, critics argue Christian leaders often silence voices when it comes to topics like sex education and LGBT issues. Several states, though, have announced partnerships with Turning Point USA to establish chapters in every high school. ACLU says endorsing these clubs likely violates federal law. A spokesman, though, says Turning Point USA continues to grow rapidly. Jason Walker reporting.
More at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
1450 WMOH News. I'm Steve Vaughn. Another deepfake sex image case at Mason High School. A 16-year-old student is accused of using AI to create nude videos and images of female classmates. He is facing 9 felony counts in juvenile court. Westchester police are looking for a man who allegedly assaulted his former girlfriend and slammed her 9-month-old puppy against a wall, killing it. Mario de la Cruz was last known to live in Covington, Kentucky. He is believed to be a citizen of Guatemala. An October 5th trial date has been set for Rodney Hinton Jr. He's charged with running over and killing Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson while he was directing traffic at a UC graduation. A New Paris couple is facing drug charges. 47-year-old Matthew Jennings and 54-year-old Tanya Barth were arrested after a search warrant at their home resulted in the seizure of 20 grams of meth, paraphernalia, and cocaine. I'm Steve Vaughn.
Looking for a friendly, fun tavern? Nick and Norm's Tavern on the west side of Hamilton has a friendly and entertaining staff, great food, and a large drink selection. At Nick and Norm's Tavern, you can play pool and darts inside, or you can sit in their outdoor area to enjoy your food and drinks. Singo and bike nights with Queen of Hearts drawing are on Wednesdays, Thirsty Thursdays, a DJ and karaoke on Fridays, and live bands on Saturdays. Stop in to Nick and Norm's Tavern on Millville Avenue at Wasserman Road on the west side of Hamilton. Nick and Norm's Tavern, a proud supporter of local youth athletics. Friday, Lakota West takes on Hamilton.
Took a lot off that and strike three looking.
Coverage begins Friday at 7:05 on WMOH 1450 The Ticket.
Sponsored by Think It Up. Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Crews are working to clear accident 75 southbound of Ducinday Road. Two right lanes are blocked, delays at Tylersville. 75 south of 275, our right lane is taken up here. Cleanup underway. On Ronald Reagan Highway, we have accidents eastbound Blue Ash with delays back to Plainfield. Ronald Reagan Highway eastbound at 71, accident on the left shoulder. I'm Rick Schrempf with traffic.
Sponsored by Compassion International. Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
For tonight, mostly clear skies with an overnight low 56. Tomorrow, sunny, high 83. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms after midnight, low around 65. This is your ticket to high school baseball. Tomorrow evening, Hamilton takes on Lakota West. It's high school game day presented by AE Door and Window. Coverage begins tomorrow at 7:05 on 1450 The Ticket.
Morning glory and evening grace, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt inside the Relief Factor studio inside the Beltway. If you were preoccupied this morning, you missed a great briefing at the Pentagon with Secretary of War Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Kane. Let's begin with Secretary Hegseth, cut number 5.
With a message to Iran's military leadership, to the KH leadership and IRGC leadership, we're watching you. Our capabilities are not the same, our military and yours. Remember, this is not a fair fight. And we know what military assets you are moving and where you are moving them to. While you are digging out, which is exactly what you're doing, digging out of bombed out and devastated facilities, we are only getting stronger. You are digging out your remaining launchers and missiles with no ability to replace them. You have no defense industry, no ability to replenish your offensive or defensive capabilities. You only have what you have. You know that, and we know that. You can move things around, but you can't actually rebuild. You can dig out for now, but you can't reconstitute. But we can. We are reloading with more power than ever before, and better intelligence, even more importantly, better intelligence than ever before, as you expose yourself with your movement to our watchful eye. We are locked and loaded.
Look, I want you to understand, Secretary Hegseth isn't bragging. He's speaking directly to the Iranian IRGC so that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps looks to their left, looks to their right, and wonder who's making a plan, who's got the getaway bag already packed. Meanwhile, General Kane got up and talked at length about how the blockade actually works. I think this is fascinating. Cut number 3.
First to the graphic. This is taken before the blockade began. North is up. You can see the blockade line here in the center of the graphic, denoted by the red dashed line. This map is a pull from our common operating picture that we use to allow commanders and key leaders to see what is happening in near real time. We just grabbed screen grabs to highlight the actions and activities. What is not shown is how incredibly congested this area is and the incredible work that our sailors are doing to ensure that they can work in and around an incredibly busy water space. What is also not depicted here is the massive force of fighters, intelligence aircraft, helicopters, and other embarked forces to include aerial refueling tankers that are up overhead this blockade area. You'll note that U.S. forces are in blue, Iranian ships are in red, and as we started this blockade, there were 7 ships of interest that were of concern for U.S. Central Command. Through a variety of intelligence tools and with the assistance of the Office of Naval Intelligence and other intelligence agencies, the force began to hunt for potential interdictors at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next slide, please. It's now 12:40 Eastern Daylight Time, 2 hours and 40 minutes into the blockade, as attempted blockade runners attempt to hop the line. U.S. forces began to commit. Out in front of them was a range of intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and tactical assets. And immediately these runners began to see, sense, and feel America's combat power compressing upon them. The lead ship, normally a destroyer, as depicted here, along with air power off of the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group, began to move towards those ships. At each point, the United States Navy will transmit a warning. A young sailor, normally on the bridge of one of those destroyers, a junior officer, picks up that mic and transmits, and I quote, "Do not attempt to breach the blockade. Vessels will be boarded for interdiction and seizure transiting to or from Iranian ports. Turn around or prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force." And as this message is being transmitted, as I mentioned earlier, those shipmasters can literally see, sense, and feel the pressure around them. It's a finely tuned machine, rehearsed multiple times, and executed now 13 times since the blockade has begun. Next slide, please. We're now 24 hours plus into the blockade. You can see the turning around of multiple ships, 12 of which stayed inside the blockade line, one of which not depicted, off to the eastern side, turned around before even attempting it. Any ship that would cross the blockade would result in our sailors executing pre-planned tactics designed to bring the force to that ship, if need be, board the ship and take her over. And that includes a series of escalated